With the first weekend of the Battlefield 6 beta behind us, I think I can finally say Battlefield is... Nuh-uh. I'm not falling for that again, EA. You need to prove yourself first. I had a good time with the Battlefield 6 beta this past weekend, there's no doubt about it. Aside from some rough launches, I have enjoyed pretty much every entry in the series save for Battlefield 2042. And despite the warts on that one, by the end of its life cycle, it turned out to be an okay game in its own right. However, after troubled launches since Battlefield 3, EA and Battlefield Studios have to get this one right, especially if EA wants to reach their very lofty goal of hitting 100 million players for Battlefield 6, which we will talk more about later. Battlefield 6 was officially revealed to the public back in July, and the developers came out on the stage with a lot of confidence. That confidence was a key theme throughout the reveal event, with the developers emphasizing how much the game has been playtested and iterated on prior to the event. Thankfully, and this is not something I would have said or did say about Battlefield 2042 at launch, Battlefield 6 feels like it's on the right track to be a big hit. The beta has been surprisingly polished, and general player sentiment is very positive from browsing various Reddit, YouTube, and other social media posts. Battlefield 6, at least for me, feels like the proper sequel to Battlefield 4 fans have been asking for years. It's back to modern combat, with an actual class system, improved destruction, endless chaos, and no unnecessary gimmicks. Pretty much everything you expect from a new Battlefield game, vehicles spawning on the actual map, and being able to drag your teammates to safety included. While some may call that safe, I'd say it's exactly the right move for the series to make. EA and DICE tried to cash in on the Battlefield moments that the series previously did such a good job of organically creating through gameplay by trying to force them through the crazy weather events of 2042, while also losing sight of what made Battlefield, Battlefield. Looking back at 2042, which was undoubtedly the lowest point of the entire series, the writing was on the wall for that game before it even released. It was a game that highlighted EA at its most cynical, changing the core foundations of the series to better fit their live service monetization model, and the player base responded exactly as you'd expect. I specifically remember reviewing the game and being taken aback by just how openly the core design principles of the series had changed in the pursuit of those fabled live service bucks. The Specialists, which essentially replaced the class system, especially made it clear as day that EA was chasing money over providing a game experience that fans of the series actually wanted, myself included. There was a shocking lack of equipment, there was hardly any destruction, maps were poorly designed, and of course, it was a buggy mess at launch. Interestingly, when I went to look back at early previews and reviews of 2042, people were surprisingly impressed after getting hands-on time with it. I bring this up to explain why I'm being cautiously optimistic about Battlefield 6. I have my lingering concerns that EA will be emboldened by it being a big hit and capitulate to their worst monetization habits to take advantage of that success. EA reportedly wants Battlefield 6 to hit 100 million players, and that has me a tad worried about the game long term. All signs are pointing towards a huge launch for Battlefield 6, and if we know anything about big video game corporations, it's that when they hit big numbers, they only want bigger numbers. An Ars Technica report released back in early July paints a slightly different picture of Battlefield 6 than the preview event and beta are portraying. The report indicated that the development of Battlefield 6 has been challenging, with lots of developer burnout and a budget that has surpassed $400 million. It also indicates that certain parts of the game, mainly the campaign, are very behind schedule. The reveal event for Battlefield 6 didn't indicate as much, as we saw a pretty polished trailer from the campaign, but it was also mostly cinematics footage, so we don't really have a clear idea of where that's at just yet. The piece is really good reporting on the inside development story of Battlefield 6 and how Battlefield Studios has evolved past 2042. I highly suggest giving it a read if you want more of that story. Now, I'm not trying to throw water on the hype of Battlefield 6 or anything here, but I am keeping my expectations in check as a big fan of the series. With the way the AAA industry in particular has gone over the years, and with the absolutely massive expectations EA has for Battlefield 6, I'm keeping my guard up on this one. The launch of the game is sure to be massive, as the game has already sold over 600,000 copies on Steam alone, and I'm sure it's done well over 1 million across all platforms. It's not the launch I'm exactly worried about, but the days immediately after. So many live service games have such rocky launches that end up delaying the post-launch strategy, and then the problems only seem to grow from there. With pretty much every Battlefield game since 3, DICE or Battlefield Studios have had to play catch up, spending months fixing bugs and getting their games stable before getting to focus on the post-launch roadmap. And while they're doing that, major publishers often show their hand and prioritize continuing to release new microtransactions and other money-making initiatives before actually making sure their game is meeting the expectations of players. Then come the interviews with press outlets where the problems are acknowledged, EA says they'll do better next time, and then the cycle continues. The highly polished beta indicates that this may not be the case this time around, but it is only a sample of the game and not the full product. The release for Battlefield 6 is set for October 6th, and the picture painted by the reveal event and the beta is a far cry from what was presented in the Ars Technica article, so the truth of the matter is probably somewhere in the middle. I have no skin in the game, obviously, on Battlefield 6 meeting financial or player expectations. I'm just hoping for a good launch as a longtime fan of the series. With so many layoffs, studio closures, game cancellations, and continuing executive greed, it'd be great to see a confident team that has seemingly put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into a game with absolutely massive expectations behind it, knock it out of the park. My hope is that EA does right by this game. If it needs to be delayed after the beta, delay it. Make sure it launches with a solid roadmap. Don't pull a Call of Duty and have the in-game store be the first thing I have to click through before I get to the actual game. And just keep listening to player feedback. I had a lot of fun with the beta, as have so many others. Let's just hope EA doesn't get in its own way this time around.